Starting around 1975, new diseases started to emerge and reemerge at a rate unheard of in the annals of medicine. More than 30 new diseases in 30 years, mostly newly discovered viruses.
Continue watching to find out more.
Beautiful viewers, I am Elena. The people of the Republic of Belarus would like to say Добрый день to visitors, meaning good day in Belarusian. The gracious Belarusians wish for heaven's light to be showered upon you. Welcome to today's program, Veganism, a COVID-19 pandemic remedy and zoonotic disease shield, part 1 of 2. The occurrence of new infectious diseases has gone up dramatically over the last century. Researchers have also found that the more humans have interacted with wildlife, including practicing domestication, the higher the chances are of diseases being shared between humans and animals.
When we domesticated cows and sheep, for example, we also domesticated their rinderpest virus, which turned into human measles, now thought of as a relatively benign disease. Over the last 150 years, measles has killed 200 million people. And in a sense, all those deaths can ultimately be traced back just a few hundred generations to the taming of the first cattle. Smallpox likely came from camel pox. We domesticated pigs and got whooping cough. We domesticated chickens and we got typhoid fever. Starting around 1975, new diseases started to emerge and reemerge at a rate unheard of in the annals of medicine. More than 30 new diseases in 30 years, mostly newly discovered viruses.
Before the COVID-19 pandemic started, there were already 56 zoonotic diseases, which accounted for 2.5 billion cases of human illness and 2.7 million deaths each year. In 2004, the World Health Organization, or WHO, had already noted an increased demand for animal protein as one of the causes of zoonoses. The consumption of meat, milk, and eggs are key factors that accelerate the emergence of fatal infectious diseases that have caused innumerable lives of humans and animals to perish. According to the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, 75% of newly emerged infectious diseases are zoonotic. The United Nations, a laureate of the Shining World Leadership Award for Humanitarianism and 2 Shining World Leadership for Life-Saving Hero Awards, has also pinpointed that new human diseases are closely connected to animals that are raised for human consumption, mainly through the wildlife trade and animal livestock raising. History seems to keep on repeating itself. The first human case of swine flu appeared in Mexico in March 2009. Because pigs can be infected by both the avian and human influenza viruses, an industrial pig raising operation in the country became a breeding ground for the new virus. The exchange of genetic materials between humans, birds, and pigs made the virus stronger, and it became more effective in passing between humans. Similarly, the past Ebola outbreaks, which were caused by the Ebola virus that most likely originated from fruit bats in the rainforest, are associated with bush meat hunting and eating. This zoonotic virus, which made a leap from fruit bats to humans, either directly or perhaps via primates like chimpanzees, causes a fatal hemorrhagic fever with symptoms of internal and external bleeding. These diseases have one thing in common: the culprit of the swine flu pandemic in 2009, the Ebola outbreaks in Africa, such as in 2014, 2018, 2020 and 2021, and the coronavirus pandemic in 2020, was humans killing animals. New emerging diseases will continue to threaten humankind if we don't change the way we live. COVID-19 is the latest example, which is caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus and jumped from animals to humans. It is capable of making sure of its continued existence with minimal resources and effort. The virus carries its genetic materials in a tiny protein shell with a characteristic spiky appearance. Once the virus has gotten into the airway, it uses its encapsulated genetic materials to hijack cells in the body and starts to replicate millions of copies of itself. The original strain of the coronavirus has a long incubation period whereby it may take up to 2 weeks or more for the person to start showing symptoms after getting infected. Yet, it's already being transmitted to others before an infected person notices symptoms arising. We will pause a moment for a constructive message and we'll be right back. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Vegan, at least save yourself from hell. Welcome back to Veganism, a COVID-19 pandemic remedy and zoonotic disease shield, part 1 of 2 on Supreme Master Television. Supreme Master Ching Hai has spoken about what makes the COVID-19 pandemic so different from pandemics we have seen in the past.
There are quite a few variants of the COVID, but Delta seems to be the worst right now, even though there's another new one, but the scientists say it's not as bad as Delta. If you read the news everywhere, people are getting it easier and quicker than before. Even people who are vaccinated double already still get sick and die also very shortly afterward, including children. Before, children were more or less spared of this COVID-19, but now the Delta doesn't spare anyone and it spreads so fast. Take good care of yourself. We are in a big problem right now. I mean, the whole world, one variant after another. This Delta is very strong. So many countries already opened, thinking the pandemic is gone down, but in many places have to close down again because this Delta is really devious, very, very bad, very evil. So don't take everything for granted. Important thing is you must be humble. You cannot have a careless and arrogant attitude. You think that like raw food will protect you. No. It's not that. It may be that your karma is better. You still have some good karma left, plus God's blessing. But if you mingle too much with many people, you get it. Not because the virus doesn't spread as fast if you get out fast, but because you mingle with too many people, different energy, maybe very low level spiritually, then you'll get it. Because your karma might not be enough to cover. Maybe you're not humble enough.
In late 2020, the Delta variant of the coronavirus was first reported in India. Then the infection quickly spread out across the country. Daily reported cases increased exponentially from approximately 10,000 a day in early February 2021 to 414,188 on May 7th. The disastrous surge of coronavirus infections was overwhelming and took tens of thousands of lives in just a few weeks. This was when the first Delta wave sparked global attention. Though the number of daily new confirmed cases has dropped since the peak in May 2021, it still has not subsided or decreased to levels seen before March this year. At the height of India's Delta wave in May 2021, the variant accounted for 90% of cases. Delta COVID has spread to at least 132 countries around the world. Now, it has become the dominant type in over a dozen countries, including the UK, Israel, and the US. According to the COVID data tracker released by the CDC, despite almost 60% of the total population in the US having received at least one dose of a COVID vaccine, the number of breakthrough infections is on the rise. Instances of fully vaccinated people getting infected are constantly being reported. Now, the Delta variant is driving cases across the US and accounts for more than 90% of COVID-19 infections. Because of the high transmission rate, the CDC has again urged people to put on masks indoors, even if they are fully vaccinated. In 2020, the government's zero-tolerance policy, including strict lockdowns, seemed to have brought the COVID-19 outbreak under control in China. Yet, in July 2021, China took a second hit from this highly transmissible Delta variant, which appeared in Nanjing, East China's Jiangsu province, and has stretched to more than 15 provinces. By early August 2021, half of the 31 provinces in China had reported COVID-19 cases. According to the CDC, the transmissibility of the Delta variant is nearly twice as high as other identified variants. What scientists and the public fear the most is its ability to escape parts of the immune system in the body, and the rising cases seem to be fueling this speculation so far, with more cases being reported from countries that have experienced a rapid surge in Delta outbreaks in the past few months. Experts believe that a different approach and quick actions are needed. We hope that today's episode on the root cause of emerging zoonotic diseases has encouraged you to switch to the healthy vegan lifestyle. In the last episode, we talked about the root cause of newly emerging zoonotic diseases. Due to animal livestock raising and the wildlife trade, cross-species transmission of viruses has become more frequent. Epidemics and pandemics are warning signs that urgent changes are needed in the way that we eat and live, but governments and communities globally have not taken steps to address our abuse and consumption of animals. The consequence is that new diseases will continue to rise and change their forms in a myriad of ways, which often will seem to be a step ahead of us. Evidence from COVID-19 tests in the US, the UK, and Singapore shows that vaccinated persons who are infected by the Delta variant coronavirus can still carry as much virus in their nasal cavity as unvaccinated people do. This underlies the vulnerability and limits of vaccination and shows that preventive measures are still necessary because a proportion of vaccinated people can still pass on the Delta variant to others. In Houston, Texas, United States, a Houston Methodist Hospital team has been gathering the scientific data of the breakthrough infection phenomenon by performing SARS-CoV-2 variant genome sequencing for nearly all their COVID-19 cases and archiving them in their system. The collected data so far has shown that approximately 17% of Delta cases had received COVID vaccinations since March 2021. The rate of Delta breakthrough infections is already about 3 times higher than other variants altogether. Viruses have a built-in mechanism that makes them more likely to have mutations when they spread between individuals. The more it's being transmitted, the greater the chances new variants will form. In December 2020, Lambda was first identified in Peru as a variant of interest, or VOI, according to the World Health Organization, or WHO. Before the variants are labeled as variants of concern, they are called VOI, meaning that the occurred mutations might affect the virus's characteristics such as transmissibility, disease severity, immune escape, or diagnostic or therapeutic escape. The Lambda variant has now caught experts and the public's attention. It has become the dominant variant in South America and being seen in different parts of the world. Researchers found mutations within the spike protein of the Lambda variant. The RNA genome of the coronavirus is packaged into a helical nucleocapsid encapsulated in a bilayered lipid envelope. The envelope of coronaviruses is generally composed of 3 proteins, including the membrane protein or M, the envelope protein or E, and the spike protein or S, which gives the notable crown-shaped appearance. Because the S protein is responsible for latching to and fusing with the host cells, changes to this component could potentially mean a change in the transmissibility of the virus. The animal livestock raising industry confines animals in cages with limited space where they can barely turn around. The overcrowded environments filled with feces put the animals under great amounts of stress, thus weakening their immune systems and making them more susceptible to pathogens. The industrial-scale animal factories are like a ticking time bomb, whereby pathogens are on the brink of making a leap to humans when the conditions become favorable to them. The animal livestock raising business needs to be ended if humans want to break the vicious cycle of diseases that repeatedly affect animals and humans. A recent paper in the BMJ Nutrition, Prevention and Health Journal, published in 2021, studied the association of dietary patterns and the severity of COVID-19 illness. The study recruited a total of 2,884 frontline healthcare workers in 6 countries, including France, Germany, Italy, Spain, the UK, and the USA. Among COVID-19 cases, participants who reported following a plant-based diet had a 73% lower chance of developing a moderate to severe COVID-19 illness compared with participants who did not follow this diet. Those who followed a low-carbohydrate, high-protein animal-based diet had 3 times greater odds of developing moderate to severe COVID-19 illness compared with those who adhered to a plant-based diet. Participants who followed a plant-based diet consumed more vegetables, legumes, and nuts. These foods are abundant in nutrients such as phytochemicals, vitamins A, C, and E, and fiber. Scientists have found that antioxidant nutrients such as vitamin E, vitamin C, beta-carotene, selenium, copper, iron, and zinc play an important role in maintaining immune function via the production of antibodies, proliferation of lymphocytes, and the reduction of oxidative stress. This means that diets that are rich in antioxidants, like the vegan diet, are able to enhance one's resistance to bacteria and viruses, thus lowering the risk of respiratory illnesses such as the common cold, influenza, and sinusitis. Despite scientific evidence showing that people who adhere to plant-based diets get more protection from developing moderate to severe COVID-19 symptoms, we must not forget to take preventive measures to protect ourselves. Things we should make a normal habit of when outside the house include maintaining at least a 3-meter distance between ourselves and others, wearing a hat, mask, gloves, goggles, and face shield, and avoiding the touching above the neck. Generally, we should wash our hands thoroughly with soap and water often. These practices will help give us more protection against any coronaviruses in our surroundings.
God helps those who help themselves. So don't just rely on God or heaven alone. You have to take care of yourself also. God cannot eat for you, see? God cannot drive your car, see? God cannot wear the clothes for you. You have the physical body in the physical dimension. You have to take care in the physical world, in the physical way.
We will pause a moment for a constructive message and then return. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television. Vegan, to avoid reincarnation on a burning planet. Welcome back to Veganism, a COVID-19 pandemic remedy and zoonotic disease shield, part 2 of 2 on Supreme Master Television. Plant-based diets are exactly what we need. Protection against emerging zoonotic diseases is not possible as long as people still consume meat. Eating meat not only hurts and kills animals, but it also endangers human health. According to the WHO, ham, bacon, salami, and frankfurters and other processed meats are Group 1 carcinogens. This means there is convincing evidence of them causing cancer, such as bowel and stomach cancer. By contrast, scientific evidence clearly demonstrates that plant-based diets help to reduce the risk of chronic diseases, including heart disease, cancer, obesity, hypertension, and type 2 diabetes. The COVID-19 pandemic has also led some people to speculate about the connection between viruses and meat diets. Living through a pandemic has created striking changes in our shopping habits, jobs, childcare, and many other aspects of life. Mother Nature has already warned us about humanity's habit of eating meat and dairy products. Meat diets put our health at stake and occupy a great portion of financial resources, which could have been allocated for positive development in the world. The simplest solution to eliminate the source of transmission is the global adoption of the vegan lifestyle to prevent future epidemics. If people don't switch to the compassionate and healthy vegan diet, COVID-19 will just be a rehearsal of more things to come. Fortunately, there is an increasing trend of consuming plant-based foods that has been seen during the pandemic. According to the market intelligence agency Mintel, the pandemic has encouraged more UK consumers to explore plant-based diets. About a quarter of young British millennials between the age of 21 to 30 said that a plant-based diet filled with healthy whole foods like chickpeas, lentils, and quinoa has become more preferable during the pandemic. These millennials are not alone. Market research also shows that the percentage of people in the UK who find a vegan diet attractive since the pandemic began is 12% overall and 22% in London. In addition, data from the market research firm shows a boost in plant-based food sales since the pandemic started, and the trend continues. Experts expect to see continuing growth in the vegan food market after the pandemic ends. Since the start of the pandemic, people have changed their mindsets and become more willing to adjust their lifestyles. We can all make a little change to our lifestyles to save countless lives and make the planet safer and more beautiful for our future generations. The change can happen now, and it starts with you.
We must pray in silence. We must meditate.
Okay.
For the world to go vegan. World vegan will breed lasting world peace, will breed benevolent energy for all beings, including humans, and then they won't get such sickness again. Even if they have to go through this sickness now, they turn vegan, in the future we don't have any more pandemic or epidemic anymore.
Yes.
Because our world have forever pandemics and epidemics, because we continue to kill. If they are vegan right now, accept the small or some inevitable consequences of the past karmic deeds that they have to endure this lifetime, we don't have any more pandemic, we don't have any more sicknesses. We will have forever peace between nations.
Wow.
Everyone will be happy, have everything to eat. All the harvest will be plentiful again.
And we'll be friends with the animals.
Yeah, the animals will have peace also.
Yeah.
All beings will have peace.
By giving up eating meat, we can break the vicious cycle and stop the demand for animal livestock raising. The little change you make does mean a tremendous difference to our planet and all the animal co-inhabitants. Thank you, brilliant viewers, for your company today for our program. Up next is Vengeance Never Brings Peace, Part 4 of 5, on Between Master and Disciples, right after noteworthy news. May the Providence guide and protect you always. Vegan side effect. Don't recognize yourself in the mirror? Yeah. Who is that handsome guy?
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/HL.